Hey my peeps, it is Starks the Autistic Gnome. I'm out at my park. I haven't been around for a few days. I haven't done a video because I've been flat. I know, sounds weird, doesn't it? So this video is on processing and keeping space for yourself as tools. Everybody's got a different process for things. You know, everybody does things differently, everybody thinks about things differently, and everybody takes care of their own stuff differently, however they feel they need to. I hate it, absolutely hate it when my process gets interrupted. But sometimes in life, you can't get away with your process being interrupted. You know, ideally, I would love to live on my own schedules, because it would make my process a lot easier. However, such is life. Life continues on, right? Okay, so I have different types of, when I say please don't interrupt my process, okay, so when I have to process internal stuff, I need to be somewhere where there's the least amount of stimulation in order for me to do so, which is usually 9 out of 10 times my apartment, which is a little bit darkened, just to keep lights low and such. And it just gives my mind time to absorb everything and to process that internal stuff and figure out what the lessons from it are, or if that's where I need to be or whatever. That's one of the ways that I process things. Another part of my process is routine. Routine is almost critical to me, just because I function way better on a routine. I'm sure most people do. I like that my meals are set at certain times and I go at that time, and I know what to expect. From the time that I get up to the time that I go to bed, my day is literally planned out in my head. Pretty much, many would say over-planned. I pretty much almost have every single 15-20 minutes planned out, for half hours planned out in my head for what I'm doing for the day. So if my process gets interrupted and something just gets thrown in there, I have to redo my whole schedule that I had in my head, and it just kind of interrupts my process kind of deal, and then it's just harder for me to keep myself at an even keel and at my baseline. But like I said, I myself do not expect the non-autistic, the allistic world to cater around my needs or to my needs, or majority rules in life, and it's always been like that, and I'm fine with that. So I just have to tweak my process at times. So I haven't made any videos because I was in a process. I went flat this weekend. I don't know how else to describe it other than I went flat. It's usually a signal to me that something huge internally, like emotionally, is coming up for me. It's almost like a service dog. You know, the service dogs that can sense your tension, a service dog for a diabetic can smell the blood. Same kind of concept. When I feel myself go flat, as I describe it, it's a signal that my body or my mind, I'm not sure which, it kind of both goes together, that something huge emotionally is building up that I'm trying to prepare, my body's trying to prepare my mind for. So I went flat this weekend, and as it turns out, the major emotional thing that was about to hit me was more grief, which my grief spells are getting better. John comes to visit me in happiness and in adventures and my excitement, but he still also comes and visits me in grief at times. So part of my process when that kind of thing happens, something internal, and grief is it's a word I'm looking for, very personal journey. There's not an awful lot that outside people, others can do for you when you're in the throes of grief. I'm not, you wouldn't know it by my videos, but I'm not a big talker face to face. I'm not bad one-on-ones, but I'm not great at it. And I'm not great at explaining how I'm feeling, because I'm more in tune with my body state than I am with my feelings, my emotional, I guess you could say. I don't identify feelings well. I identify more with my body state. So John came to visit, and I had a brief spell, 3 or 4 days of just that devastating grief again. I'm okay now. You know, I'm at the tail end of it. I'm back out in my park doing these videos again. I'm doing this particular video on processes because my process was, I just have to be in that moment. I just have to allow that grief to flow through so that I can just get on with my life and continue on. But if I don't allow myself that time, saving that space for me, when I really need that space, then I end up with a lot more triggers and stuff. So my process is, quickly eat my meals. I've been listening to Tibetan. I'm a little distracted. I'm in the park again. Sorry. Tibetan bowls, singing bowls I've been listening to, and that kind of thing, running water, lakes, fountains, that kind of stuff, as my white noise, just to try to cleanse myself. So I'm okay now, but I never really know what to say to people. When they ask me if I'm okay, it's like, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, like, I'm not bleeding anywhere, or, I'm okay. It's just some internal stuff that I had to get through. Or if someone's saying, so how are you doing? I never know how to answer that question, how are you doing? Because to me, doing should be followed by a verb. What are they doing over there? Yeah, sorry. I'm just coming back to being unflat, I guess you could say, so I'm a little bit distracted here. But I don't know, doing implies to me that you're doing something. Like, how it should be, what are you doing, not how are you doing. To me, it always seems unfinished. Like, how are you doing what? How am I doing what? How am I doing that? How am I doing what? So, I don't know. It's just weird to me. I'm sure it's not weird on a general sense. It's just weird to me because I'm never really quite sure how to answer questions like that. Like, how are you doing? Or half the time when someone says to me, how are you feeling? I don't really identify with feelings, so I don't really know how I'm feeling. I know how my body state is. I'm assuming if I'm not in a hyper anxious state, then I'm doing really good and that I'm happy. If I'm not flat, so, but it was really nice because I was allowed my process without it being interrupted. Like I spent the last few days in my room with the lights low and, just trying to process everything and just be in the moment with that grief and cry when I needed to cry and, talk to John as I needed to talk to John and whatnot. So process is very and a very important tool for me, because that's kind of what keeps me sane. And it's just really awesome because all my peeps gave me that space without any interruptions of my process, so I could just, even though they themselves didn't necessarily know what was going on. I mean, like, I know when I say, oh, I feel flat, I know what I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't understand or know what the hell I'm talking about. So I have my own language at times, so it makes perfectly sense to me. It may not make sense to other people, but they were still, all my peeps, just gave me that space. They, just checked up on me, made sure that I was okay, and then just gave me that space to get through what I needed to do, and I could fully do my process without having to start over, which is really frustrating when you have to start a process over. John when we first met, he used to interrupt my process. I'd be doing something and I'd be struggling with that, and he'd just automatically want to help with that struggle because he doesn't like to see me struggle. Until I told him, I said, stop, you're messing. Well, I didn't say messing, I used the F word, but you're messing with my process. When I'm trying to work out something, I said to him, I said, I'm 15 steps ahead of where I'm at visually or physically. My mind is going, okay, so this isn't working, so maybe if you try this and then do that and do this and then do that, that might work. And then when someone interrupts that process for me, now I have to start back at square one, and it's taken me 45 minutes to get to where I am now, and I've only done 3 things, kind of concept. And then I struggle even harder. So I said to him, I said, it's okay if I struggle, just don't let me fall. And after that, he no longer interrupted my process. I respect everybody's process. I don't expect everybody to understand or respect my processes or the way I process things, but I would like to think that they do, or hope that they would if they're, my peeps. So I am back now, and this one was just, I'm out in the park and I'm about to do a meditation and just kind of get unflat, kind of deal, and get on with the rest of my week this week. And so this is Starks the Autistic Gnome. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share, like, and put on your notifications if you want to see more of these really weird videos from a really weird gnome. We'll get to the reason why I classify myself as a gnome in the next few videos. Anyway, have a good night all. Good night.